And welcome back to Talking Law TV. I'm Michael Short, and our first guest tonight is Doug Andrews. Hi, Doug.
Hi, Michael.
And we're going to talk about one call, that's bull.
And other things.
And other things. First of all, I've got some surprises for you.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Here, I wanted to give you an example. You think he maybe supersized that one just a little bit?
Is that Archie?
That's Jughead.
Jughead, I'm sorry, Jughead, yeah.
Yep, Archie's friend.
Mm-hmm.
And then this guy, you know, because that lion looks like he means something.
Yeah, means business.
Yeah. And, well, this guy.
God bless him.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us about these TV lawyers who are not on shows like this where you teach and educate and inform people, but they're out there making these wild and crazy promises that just are crazy, like one call, that's all. That's a joke.
Well, some of us grew up in a period where no lawyer advertising was allowed, and it was deemed to be not fitting a true professional to solicit business by public communications. You could barely advertise in the yellow pages in the old days, much less TV and other things. And then the Supreme Court of the United States found the First Amendment. I guess they opened their book one day, and there it was. And they found commercial speech is covered by the First Amendment. So a case arising, I believe, out of Arizona said, hey, advertising, even by lawyers, is commercial speech, and while the bar may regulate it to a certain extent and set some standards, they can't prohibit it. So since then, we've had a plethora, I love that word, of advertisements covering all sorts of practices of law, and there are still some standards that are on the books and, by gosh, should be met.
Well, that's one question I have. Is I know one of the standards has to do with fee splits. And it seems to me like the state of Georgia, or the bar Georgia, is not enforcing the regulations sufficiently, because the lawyers that we've talked about already or alluded to, these people don't go to court. They're answering services.
Pretty much, most of them, not all, but most of them are referral services, and they will want to take a fee split. It was under prior Georgia practice, fee splitting was improper if all you were doing was referring clients. It's still a requirement under Georgia law that each lawyer who takes a portion of the fee have some responsibility for the case. So it would be a violation of bar standards, as I understand it, to simply refer and then get a cut when the case is over. I think that is unethical under Georgia practice.
I mean, the largest spender of legal dollars in the nation is a guy named James Sokoloff. You've seen his things and things. The man has been practicing law for 25, well, practice has lots of compliments to him. He's been practicing law for 25 years. He's been to court one time. He had a misdemeanor case and he lost.
I believe
and he
that's
spends
true.
$25 million a year on TV advertising.
Well, and most of the ads you see that run on TV that aren't the local people we know and love, those lawyers that advertise, if you read the fine print, and I've got a problem with the ads because even on my big screen TV, I can't read the fine print on a big screen TV. And if you want to read it, I have to back it up and put it on pause. But it'll say that this law firm refers cases to local lawyers. That's what it says. Well, why do you want a guy like that who has to advertise and won't handle your case?
And they get roughly 50% of the settlement amount from the legal fee standpoint?
I can't say 50%. I don't know the amount.
But it varies.
Not involved in it, yeah.
But some of them do get 50% of whatever the lawyer gets for his fee, for basically answering the phone and saying, you do it for me.
And I had told somebody about what my topic was going to be today, and I have to say that they took me to task, and I'll say this. My ad that says, "A abiding aggressive attorney," has a history to it. Because that's what I was being gently chastised about. That was back when the yellow pages were strictly alphabetical. Some of us remember the late, great Lance Smith, former state senator.
Sure.
Trial attorney. He did try cases, except later in his years. And he was a personal injury specialist. Made gobs of money.
Mm-hmm.
Most of his wives took that from him, but that's another story. He was an able accident attorney. So when I came on scene in '91 and opened my office, the yellow pages were about to close, and I said, geez, I think I could do better than that. So I came up with A, abiding. Abiding means honest lawyer, abiding by the rules of law as we're required to do in ethical practice. And aggressive, I've had people come to me and say, I want you because it says aggressive. I say, well, I charge extra for that. I find that you can gently use aggressiveness when it suits the occasion, but the lawyers that use that as a constant diet, they don't get as much success. So anyway, that's my disclaimer.
Okay. Now, what are the standards, the ones we've talked about, that the Georgia Bar does allegedly have?
I have the standard right in front of me. It's Rule 7.1. It says the communications of the lawyer shall not be false, fraudulent, deceptive, or misleading. And by that, they give the explanation that, for example, if it creates an unjustified expectation about results the lawyer can achieve. There you go. So if you see an ad that said, get what's right, get Mike, is that an unjustified expectation? Is supersize your settlement? How about tell them you mean business and hire a lawyer that never goes to court?
I like the one in Greenville. In a wreck, get a check.
And one call, that's all. What BS is that? I don't know where that comes from, what he's thinking, but if you think a lawyer can finish your case with the one call or even get started with the one call, maybe you need that kind of lawyer. I don't know.
What would you propose that the regulations be changed to better regulate this?
Oh, I think the regulations are fine.
Just enforce the ones we have?
Enforce it. Enforce it. I mean, there are some lawyers that do a great job in advertising. The law firm of Owens, Mulheron, Wilbur Owens, is on TV. He says, in a very polite, calm manner, something about his experience, and then he says, let us work with you.
And I remember the late John Wright Jones, and just classic Southern Matlock style, helping folks
for over 30 years. Yes, absolutely.
He was my first landlord when I opened my business.
And other lawyers, Howard Spiva, he advertises by helping the community, very active with children's issues and safety issues. He is known throughout the community because he cares. Isn't that the standard we should be emulating?
And he's a litigator. He goes to court.
Oh, you betcha. You betcha. He handles the big cases. I'll never be half the lawyer Howard Spiva is.
So what do you think is the best way for someone to choose an attorney? I mean, do we want to watch TV and pick an attorney?
Well, that's why they run them during the daytime soap operas. If you're stuck in a hospital bed, half the penalty is watching the lawyer ads because they figure somebody's in traction there and somebody will be writing their phone number down. Pick a lawyer like anything else with a little bit of investigation. Talk to people you know. Look at their website if they have one. See what their background experience is. You can go to the courthouse and type in the lawyer's name and see how many times his name appears on the search index for cases handled. If there's none there, that tells you something. It means that they don't have a record of litigating cases. They just sell you out at the first opportunity.
Okay, well, thank you, Doug. It's nice to have real lawyers on my show, people who go to court and actually enjoy helping people. And we'll be back with more and another real lawyer, Christy Register, right after this.